The United States entered Afghanistan in 2001 after the 9/11 attacks, with the main goal of eliminating terrorist groups and removing the Taliban from power. At the beginning, the mission seemed clear and justified. However, over time, the purpose of the war changed. What started as a counter-terrorism operation slowly turned into a long-term nation-building project, and this shift created confusion and weak planning. One major reason for the failure was the lack of a clear and consistent strategy. Different U.S. governments changed policies again and again, and there was never a clear definition of what success actually meant. Military victories were achieved, but political stability was never secured. Without a clear end goal, the mission kept dragging on for years. Another important factor was the weakness of the Afghan government. Corruption was widespread at almost every level. Many government officials were more focused on personal gain than public service. This destroyed the trust of ordinary Afghan citizens. Even though billions of dollars were given as aid, much of it was wasted or misused, and strong institutions were never built. At the same time, the Taliban remained strong. They understood the local culture, tribal systems, and social structure far better than foreign forces. They used guerrilla warfare tactics, avoided direct confrontation, and slowly expanded their influence, especially in rural areas. Many locals supported them not because they fully agreed with them, but because they saw them as a familiar and powerful force. Cultural misunderstanding also played a big role. The United States tried to impose Western ideas of democracy and governance on a society that worked very differently. Afghanistan has deep tribal traditions and local power structures, which were often ignored. This created resistance and made it difficult for foreign forces to gain long-term support from the population. Another serious issue was the Afghan military's dependence on U.S. support. Afghan forces relied heavily on American airpower, funding, and logistics. While they were trained and equipped, they were never fully independent. When the U.S. decided to withdraw, Afghan soldiers lost morale, and the system collapsed very quickly. The war also became extremely costly. Thousands of lives were lost, and trillions of dollars were spent. Over time, the American public grew tired of a war with no clear progress. Political support declined, and pressure increased to bring troops back home. When the U.S. finally withdrew, all these weaknesses became visible at once. The Afghan government collapsed within days, and the Taliban regained control of the country. This showed that military power alone cannot fix deep political, social, and cultural problems. In the end, the failure of the U.S. in Afghanistan was not caused by one single mistake, but by a